You wake up and reach for your phone before your eyes are fully open. You scroll, you check, you respond. You get dressed in clothes that look like everyone else's clothes, drive to a job you chose because it sounded right, and eat lunch at your desk because that is what people do. It feels normal. It feels like you. But what if almost none of it actually is? This is not a philosophical riddle. It is a scientific one, and the answer is far stranger than you think. Psychologist Tanya Chartrand at Duke University ran a study in the 1990s that should have shaken the world. She placed two strangers in a room together and asked them to complete a simple task. One was actually a researcher, secretly told to rub their face occasionally or shake their foot. The other person was the subject. Within minutes, the subject began mirroring the exact same movements without any awareness they were doing it. Rubbing their face, shaking their foot, perfectly synchronized with a person they had just met. Chartrand called it the chameleon effect. Your brain is doing this constantly, not just with movements, with preferences, with opinions, with the shape of your entire life. Start with something as simple as what you find attractive. Your standards for beauty were not born with you, they were absorbed. The faces you find beautiful, the body types you find appealing, the voices you find trustworthy. All of it was assembled by your nervous system long before you had any conscious input. Psychologist Judith Rich Harris argued in her landmark work, "The nurture assumption that peer groups, not parents, shape most of what you become. The children around you at age 7 taught you what was cool. The teenagers around you at 15 taught you what was desirable. You were not choosing, you were absorbing. And the thing about absorbed preferences is that they feel indistinguishable from chosen ones. That is the trick, that is the trap. Now think about your career. Did you choose it? Walk yourself back through the decision. There was probably a teacher who told you that you were good at something, a parent whose approval was tied to a particular path, a cultural moment, a show you watched, an industry that was glamorous, a job title that made people nod with respect. Robert Cialdini, whose research on influence has shaped decades of behavioral science, documented how powerfully social proof guides human decisions. We do not evaluate choices in a vacuum. We look around. We see what respected people are doing, and then we do that. Most people do not choose a career so much as drift into the one that was already admired by the people around them. This goes even deeper. Your core values, the things you would say matter most to you, the beliefs you would defend, the causes you care about, those were also assembled. Developmental psychologist Lawrence Kohlberg spent years studying how humans build moral frameworks and found that most people never reach the final stage of moral reasoning. Most people adopt the ethics of their community, their religion, their social group, and then defend those ethics as if they had arrived at them through personal reflection. They feel earned. They feel true. But in most cases, they were inherited from people who inherited them from other people. The values inside you right now are a chain stretching back through generations of strangers, but here is where it gets truly strange. Your brain does not just absorb the preferences and values of people around you, it absorbs their fears, their ambitions, their definitions of success and failure. Social psychologist Roy Baumeister and his colleagues have shown that the human need to belong is not a soft preference. It is a survival drive, as urgent and biological as hunger. Your ancestors lived in tribes. The tribe was survival. Exile was death. Your nervous system still knows this, which means it still monitors, constantly and below conscious awareness, whether your behavior matches the group, whether your opinions are acceptable, whether your life choices will be approved. And then it quietly nudges you toward whatever keeps the tribe intact. This is why you felt anxious the last time your life looked different from everyone around you. Not because your path was wrong, because your ancient brain read deviation as danger. The pressure you felt to get married at a certain age, to earn a certain income, to own a certain kind of home, to have opinions that fit inside a familiar box, none of that pressure came from logic. It came from a 200,000-year-old nervous system trying to keep you alive in a world that no longer exists. So when did you last make a choice that was actually yours? Think about the music you listened to. You probably discovered most of your favorite artists through another person. A friend played something in a car. An algorithm built on other people's choices fed it to you. Even your taste in stories, in aesthetics, in the kind of humor you find funny, all of it was seeded by exposure, by what was around you, by who was around you. Psychologist Nicholas Christakis and sociologist James Fowler demonstrated in their groundbreaking research on social networks that behaviors spread through communities like Contagion. Happiness spreads, obesity spreads, depression spreads, divorce spreads. The way you live your life is statistically predictable based on the lives of the 3 people closest to you. You are not separate from your social environment. You are an expression of it. Now pause. None of this means you have no self. It means your self is more collaborative than you realized. It was built in conversation with everyone around you, whether you were aware of the conversation or not. The question is not whether you were shaped. You were. Every human being is. The question is whether you have ever stepped back far enough to see the shape. Most people never do. They move through life responding to drives that feel like preferences, following paths that feel like choices, defending values that feel like convictions, and they are not wrong that these things feel real. They are real. They are just not entirely theirs. The ancient Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius spent his reign as emperor of Rome writing private notes to himself about the danger of absorbing the values of the crowd without examination. He called it one of the greatest threats to a good life. You have the same brain he had, the same absorptive, mimicking, belonging, hungry nervous system. The difference is whether you notice it. Here is the most unsettling part. Even this thought, the idea that you should reflect and examine and choose more deliberately, that thought is probably not original either. Someone planted it, a book, a teacher, a cultural movement, a particular kind of social circle that valued introspection. The desire to live authentically is itself a cultural product, which does not make it wrong. But it does mean that even your rebellion is, at least partly, borrowed. So what do you do with this? You wake up tomorrow and reach for your phone before your eyes are open. You scroll, you check, you respond. And somewhere in that ordinary morning, a very small, very quiet question is waiting for you. Not a dramatic one, not a crisis, just a question. Is this actually what you would choose? If you could strip away the absorbed preferences and the inherited fears and the social contagion and the ancient belonging drive, and you could stand in a room by yourself with nothing but the raw material of your own experience, what would you reach for? Maybe the same things. Probably not all of them. The person living your life feels entirely like you, and most of them is. But some of them arrived before you were old enough to decide who you wanted to be. And those parts are still there, still steering, still reaching for the phone in the dark, completely certain that this is exactly what they want.